Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. As always, thank you for the support, really is appreciated. And also congrats to Lee, he has contacted me and his parcel will be on the way to him shortly. I will be doing another giveaway, it's probably going to be towards the end of this month, but I thought I might do vouchers for either Hunky Dory or Crafter's Companion, so it could be a case that the winner can pick where they would like their voucher to be from, but we'll deal with that later in the month. For now, like I said before, I was going to play with these new embossing folders, and I'm going to be using this one, the wooden panels, and I've also bought in this pretty edgeable, which is the wildflowers, which we're going to be using as well. So for this project, I have got two pieces of quite thick mount board. This came out of a package, so it's not anything that I've paid for. It's just was there, so I kept it to be used. It's probably about maybe 1 millimeter thick, so it's a decent size thickness. If you haven't got any of this, you can use mount board from Crafter's Companion, that's pretty thick, or even if you've got some pads that you've used up, usually on the back of there's some quite thick board as well. I'm also going to be using a piece of printed paper from the Spring Fever pad. Hopefully that's not making the screen go too weird. I've got some silver Mary card. I won't turn that over just because it flashes. That was just an extra piece of mount board. And I've got two pieces of craft card. I'm not sure if this is Crafter's Companion or not, but if you've got Crafter's Companion, that will work. And I've got a piece of the pearl card. I think this one came out of the Christmas pack, which was Bethlehem. I believe it was Bethlehem. And then I've just got a piece of Nina card that I've printed my own sentiment on. So let's get started. So we'll pop this out, and this is a 2D embossing folder, so we just need 2 clear plates, and it is, the size on it is 5 by 7. So just to make that a little bit easier, I'm just going to cut 2 pieces of this craft card. I'm going down to 5 by 7, 5 by 7. Oops, one more. Oops, get that straight. 5 by 7. So it's always these little bits that go into the bit box. Pop that one aside just for now. So let's move that one out of the way. And I'm going to start just by running these 3 bits through. It doesn't really matter which side. Up you go. Just grabbing my plates. We just pop those 3 through. And you can see you get a lovely emboss on that. I mean, you can see that even on the screen. So that is perfect. It's just what we want. And the second one just going through. And then the third. So although the folder says it is 5.2 by 7, the actual, it isn't exactly, because it has got a frame round it, so we will trim that down. So I'm going to bring my trimmer in, and we just trim those edges off. Actually, let's just pop that out. Don't need to do it on the long side as much, but the short edge we do. So that takes us to probably about 6 3/4. So again, just like 3. Just going to make it a bit easier because in a second I'm just going to pop some ink on. Okay, and then again we'll just pop that out the way, and then under here I've got, no I haven't, give me 2 seconds. Did a bit this mat, so just bring it in. I've got the square I don't know what you call it, dauber ink spreader, and I've got Friar Brown, so I'm just going to give that a nice press down, and just going to bring that on to bring all those, that wood effect right up. I'm going quite heavy handed, so I'm not really putting any real technique into it. If you want to use 2 different colour browns to bring these up, you know, absolutely feel free. Let me just grab a piece of roll just to try and keep my hands a bit clean. I have been playing beforehand, which is why I have got a bit of blue on me. That's that one there. Just put a bit more there. And I'm just going to do exactly the same with these other 2 pieces. You can also go ahead if you fancy some gilding wax on here after, or some tones. You know, really it's as much as you want to do. I kind of wanted it to stay quite woody for what I had in mind, but you know, you've got thousands of products out there that will add a bit of dimension to these embossing folders. So oops. Go for as much or as little as you like. Okay, I'm just going to put a bit more on this end there. And then last one. I like, you know, you can see I'm just literally just chucking on the colour. I've said before, I say it again, I am not, me and inks is still quite a very new thing. I like playing with them, but I still got a lot to learn, let's put it that way. And I think this square one is quite good because you can get quite a lot of colour on in one go. Just clean that out a little bit. There we go. I am happy with that. So let's just pop that one away. Right, making everything fall down. Okay. Let's pop that there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take my first piece, and I'm going in with my all-purpose glue. She says if it decides to come out. There we go. And you need to make sure you get it right up to the corners with this one, just to make sure you've got that good adhesion. Oops. If you want to use your PVA, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work as well. So, you know, I am a fan of this all purpose. That's my favourite glue ever. And for this one, it doesn't matter if it splurges out because we will be cutting it into it anyway. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. And I'm trying to keep them sort of straight with this edge here. There we go, so that's that one. Just going to put my glue bottle on there. I'll keep that one weighted down a little as soon as it thinks it wants to turn up at the corners. I think if you're using the mount board, you probably could get away with some double-sided red tape, but this feels a bit fibrous, and also the craft card's a bit fibrous, so I kind of wanted to go for a wet glue on those anyway. Okay. Okay, so let's take that off and bring my trimmer in. So the first thing I'm going to do with this longer piece, let's just get that arm out. So I'm going to cut that. I might have to cut a little off the end just so I can get it in my trimmer. And it does go quite well through this trimmer, like you can see there. So I'm going to cut that on that edge, and we'll separate that plank out. Cut so well that time, but that's not a problem. So I'm going to take this to 6 3/4, and I'm going to cut that at 1 inch. So we've got one, and hopefully I should be able to get the other one as well, if I can get it nice and straight. So we've got our 2 back pieces there. Okay, so the trick is pressing down quite hard on this trimmer. I'm just going to clean that out because there's some gunk in there. I think that might end up affecting my cut a little bit. Okay, so let's just neaten that up there. Okay, so I'm going to take a tiny bit off the top just because it's a bit messy where that has been put on. Okay, I might swap over to my other trimmer, but let's see how we go. I'm masking a lot of this little one. Let's do that. Let's swap over to the other trimmer. Like I say, I am asking it to go through quite a lot. And I'm going to bring my other trimmer back in. But what I'm going to do is just swap out that blade. So I've got a new blade. And hopefully that will see us through. We just want 2, 4, 6. We just want another 2, I think, and then that'll be fine because it's not going to be a perfect square. There we go. So let's just go across there again. To the bottom. Comes out. Still doesn't want to do it, does it? maybe because it's a little wet, maybe I should leave it to dry. Let me just stuck there. Let me just give it a that. Right. Let's give it one more go. Stop. It's going fine when I tried it before, but I think it may have been because it was a little drier. Let's go down there again. Press down, see. Right, okay, change of plan. Just due to the thickness. Go across with my metal ruler. Let's bring that one in. I'll use the knife instead. Okay. So I'm just gonna put that one onto there. Pressing down quite hard just to get through all those layers. Here we go. That one, and then I just need one more. There we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did do an extra one there, so I will save that for another project. And then just going to come along the bottom of these again. Yeah. The knife is going to be your best friend on this one. Like I say, it did work on the other one, but I think it was a bit drier, so maybe that was part of the issue as well. Okay, so we've got our 4 planks now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's going to help us make our little bit of sort of fake palette art. Okay, so going to pop that knife away so that I don't injure myself. So I'm going to pop, that should go on the back, and on one of the pieces I'm going to come in about 1.5 and 1.5, and probably about an inch down, and I'm going to come in with my crocodile. I've just got it on the largest hole, and I'm just going to pop one hole through on both of those. Now if you wanted to, because obviously there are various different styles of these palettes, if you wanted to, you could do holes on each one and then link them up by a chain or a bit of ribbon, but because I've done the struts, that's not the way that I'm going to do it today. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is bring in this Burnish Copper Spectrum Noir metallic pen, and on the brush side I'm just going to go around all these edges. It was, I mean, you've got the gold, the silver, this one, this bronze, and there's another one as well. I don't know, can't remember what that one is. It might be a different type of gold, but I kind of found that this one, although it's copper, it kind of looks more woody than the others. So so that's why I decided to use this one. I'm just going to do that on all four. Just like that, nearly there. And it's nice and easy because it's just running the pen along the side of it. I'm not worrying about the back. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and put something on the back, whether you wanted to do the wood again, or if you wanted to do a pattern paper or something. I just think it's going to be on the wall, so I'm not going to see it. But if you wanted to go that extra on it, then, you know, obviously there's always those opportunities there. Okay, and then these pieces here, I'm just going to go ahead and just colour those over, just in case, because I am putting my planks on just tiny bit spaced apart, just in case anything does come through. All you're going to see is this copper. So it just takes a quick second to do that. And obviously there are the acrylic markers, you know, you could use that instead of this if you wanted to, because this sort of type of board is sort of sucking up the ink. But just a quick fix for that, and then and to me, when I've coloured it in, it sort of looks a bit like, I don't know, tiki, if you know what I mean, sort of like teak wood, where you've got that kind of grain going through. And you can see I'm not being particularly careful, I'm just scribbling it on. There. There we go. Right, so let's just pop that one back where I can find it next time. Right, so now we can start to pop these together. So what I am going to do for this is use my tacky glue. I use the little one. Let's just make sure that's flowing. Just purely because I want these to stick quite fast, but I also don't want them to move, so that's why I'm going to be using my tacky. So I'm not measuring this in any way, but obviously I need those holes to come above these planks, so because that's where I'm going to hang them up. So I'm just going to pop a good amount of glue on there, and then we're just going to pop that onto there. And I think I'll do one side first, and then I can do the other one. Just try and keep them nice and straight. There we go. So again, bit of tacky glue. I'm just leaving that tiny little gap, but I also do want them to be exactly the same. If we can, squiggle that there. Okay, and then again with this one, again, small gap, and then this one will hang over the edge of there, so we go. Oops, let's give that a minute longer. The tacky glue does tend to go quite quick, so that's the benefit of using that glue. And so I'm just going to carefully just bring those over. Just keep those separated just a little bit. And then I'm just going to pop glue all the way along. And if it does happen to splurge out, it's only going to dry clear anyway, so. And then that one's going to go on there. Like so. Like you can see here, it's sort of come out. But that's fine, we'll just rub it in with our finger. That's going to be great. So I'm going to turn that over. So that is my palette. I can see this edge is just coming over just a tiny bit. And I'm not liking that because the other ones are really quite the same. So I'm just going to take that little bit off. There we go. Which just means I need to grab that pen back. And just put my pen along that edge just to neaten that cut. There we go. Okay. So now we have our palette to work on, so we can start to think about decorating. Now if you wanted to, you could go ahead and put another layer of those on there if you wanted that to really stand up. You know, you've got lots of options for playing with that further. So I'm just going to pop that to the side and we'll let that dry. I'm just going to bring in, this card, which was the Pearl Blue, and also this Wildflowers Edgeable. Okay, so let me just get into this one. It's not one I've used before. And I tend to keep them in the packets. Trying to keep that, you know, so it just makes it a little easier for me to keep them together. So we've got our Edgeable there, and I'm going to be using this photo. So some people might know that I lost one of my dogs just before Christmas, this guy here, Pippin. So he was part Scotty. But I sort of love him as he got older. He had this lovely Disney moustache, and like the grey and everything. So it is like my favourite pictures of him are of him as older. But like many people, I tend to, they're all on my phone. And I had a big issue with my phone just before Christmas, in that it wasn't working properly. It just kept restarting, and I thought, oh, I've lost all my little photos and videos of him, because I've got some lovely videos of him, because he was obsessed with bubble wrap. So whenever any parcels came, if they had bubble wrap in, he would get the bubble wrap, and he would sit there and nibble the bubbles and pop them, you know, like we do. We pop them, and I think he used to really enjoy doing it. So yeah, so he used to love his bubble wrap. So and I've got loads of videos, and I thought, oh no, I've lost them all. But my phone is letting me do certain things for a small amount of time, so I did manage to send some of these photos over. I did them by Messenger and then picked them up on my other phone, my other computer, and managed to get it printed out. So I was so happy that I haven't lost them all. I've transferred them all over now. I need to put them on something a little more durable. So I've got a storage, you know, one of those data storage things. So I'm going to be doing that. So I am going to be putting a white mat and a silver mat behind all of this. So the white mat is going to come, I'll either do white or black, but I want this edgeable, so I'm just going to cut this so that we've got enough room there to put my photo on and the edgeable. And the actual length of this is going to be determined more by the photo than by the edgeable this time. So let's go around about there. I don't think that's going to be too big for my palette. So a teeny bit more. We can always amend a little bit if we need to, but just wanted to give myself a starting point. So this is a cut-in die, so this outside will cut out, but these dots will cut in. So I'm going to bring that up. So I'm trying to, don't particularly want any half flowers, but we'll see how it goes. And I do want it to be nice and straight. So let's bring my ruler in. There's there. Let's put that down like so. Might need another little bit of tape because that did look like it wanted to go on its travels. So normal sandwich. So we've got our clear plate, our magnetic, our shim, and our second clear plate. Very well, so let me just pick that up, put it straight into a cut and tidy. And we'll pop it through again. It is quite a detailed die, so that'll be why it's sort of struggled a little bit. There's a lot of little flowers on there. Let's have a little bit there, so just look. Let's still struggle in the middle there. Let's just try. A bit sticky there. So let's have a look, see how much it's cut. It's not cut right the way through there. Let's take that bit out. Try and make it a bit easier. So it is a pearl card, so it is a coated card. That way, and we'll try one more time. Actually, what I could do is if I take that one out, and if I bring a metal shim. So third time lucky, metal shim. Like I say, is a really detailed die. That's the bit I don't like, the cracking noise. There we go. So let's just pop that out. And that is looking better now. So let's have a little look. So I'm just going to grab my pokey tool, just poke all these little bits out. So I'm just going to fast forward to where I've got these out. Some of them are being a little difficult. Bear with me. Okay, so I've got this cut now. So I am going to cut it down a little bit more. So I'm going to take, I think I'm going to take off. Let's see. Yep, and then there. So the actual size of it in the end was 5 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to grab, I've decided to go with the black because I've got obviously the black on him. I've got a black embellishment as well, so that's why I've decided to go with the black. And I have, let's just pop this on, and I just want a narrow little border just so it accentuates the colours on him, that's all, and the colours in the picture, even though it's only the mess of my living room. That's fine. Let's have a look. I'm just going to double check on there. I may still take another little bit off. Yeah, let's just take a tiny bit off. Okay, that should be fine. So I want this mat to come over onto those dots a little bit. Okay, put another little one there that I missed. Okay, so that's our bit there. That's that one. So I did say what I wanted to do was cut a little bit of silver. So again with this border, so let me just tap that out. Sorry if it shakes the camera. It's there, and it's just the edge bit that I want to cut in the silver, just for a little bit of a highlight. That should be wide enough. Yes, it is. I'm just going to, actually we've got some little bits of card in them holes, so let's just get rid of them. Not really going to see it because it'll be behind, but we've got a little bit there as well, so good thing, you know, to make sure you do empty all of these bits, because it will stop the die cutting properly. Okay, and you can see I've come over a little bit. It's a little bit short, could have done with being a bit wider, but because this is going behind, it's not really going to make a big difference. So let's just bring the plates back in, and probably there. Like so, pop that through. Again, using that metal shim. And I did use the cut and tidy as well, just to give it a bit of extra pressure. And that looks like it's done that perfectly. Put a bit off at the end because I'm not using it, all of it anyway. Into the bin. Hopefully this will come out quite nicely. Here we go. So that's going to go behind, and then I can trim that down. Let's put that one out of the way. So the next thing I need to do is, let's move that up a little bit. I want to cut a small mat with this. So the sentiment that I'm going to be using, and I printed it out on my computer quite a few times to get it right, and I printed this on Nina card because the multi-purpose won't go through my printer. And this is a quote by Dean Koontz. I think he's a writer, writes horror, well not horror, but you know, mystery type. Well, it is kind of a bit horror-y. It's, yeah, he's one of those writers. And this quote, which I liked, said, once you've had a wonderful dog, a life without one is a life diminished. So yeah, I like that. So I wanted that because he was a really wonderful dog. So again, I'm going to put this onto the black, but I want a sort of a matte of colour to go around that as well. So I go to about there, and then turn this over, line that up in the centre. That should cut all the way along for me. And then this one will go on to silver rather than the black. So let's pop that onto there. I'm not measuring my layers today as such. It's going to be a case of, you know, sort of just pick the materials that you want to use. You'll have different papers that you might fall in love with, or you may have a photo that's of a child, so you want more child friendly sort of papers. Here we go, let's have a look on that. Just a tiny bit off that bottom. And that should be fine. Yeah. And then I just want a bit of black for this one. So if you want to do things specifically to measurements, obviously you can do. Just want that. Sometimes I do like to work a little bit sort of freehand. And sometimes I just make a mark with my nail. Sometimes I measure. There are so many different ways to do the same thing. And I'm going to go a little bit narrower on those. Let's see, how does that look? I think my borders are not exactly straight. The trouble is, once you get to tiny little borders like this, the slightest little movement and it will take your measurements off. I'm just going to check that that one is straight, and it's not straight. There we go, let's see what that's like now. That's fine, it is a little narrow around that side, but I have got a plan for that anyway. Okay, so now we can, I think, start to assemble. Okay, so let's bring this all back in. I've got a piece of ribbon here as well, and I also have, don't know if I'm going to use these charms, but I also have this little embellishment here, and I think I'm going to put a bit of ribbon just around his neck to start with. So if I grab my tape, start with that one, and we'll just pop that across there. Do finish down, and that one on. And if I wanted to, I could do a little bow tie, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave that at that. So this ribbon is going to come across. So let me just get the right side up. I'm going to cut it roughly, actually roughly to size. So because I'm not going to be tucking it around the back. That one, I think that's probably going to be, yeah. Okay. So if I pop on there, if I pop that on there, and then I'll come in with this narrow ribbon, narrow red liner tape, sorry. And I'm going to give that a really good British down, because what will happen is if it hasn't and you try and pull it up, it will pull apart the threads of your ribbon. So you just have to be super careful with it. Okay. And this is going to come across the bottom here. It may be hidden by other things, but that's where we're starting from, so we'll just tidy that one up. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll use this piece of black here, and I'll bring in a dotty pen for this one. It's just got a piece there. Okay. So the reason why I'm using my black is because I know my photo's going on it, so it's not going to affect anything if there's a few dots in the middle. And I've glued it the wrong way, haven't I? Yes, I have. Right, okay, so let's glue back this one instead. Sorry. Okay, and then I turn that over, and then I'm just going to match these up and just offset them slightly. Made slightly problemical because it's now sticky on the back. Okay, but we'll just trim that to match, and again with that one there, put that to the side. So this one we're going to have coming in on here, but I don't know if I want this to come over it. Oh, we're coming in with the silver on that one. Come over it or not. I think it's probably going to be best to go under it. So let's do this one first. So again, being careful, just because I'm using the alcohol on this mirror card, and don't want that to come over the edges, splurge out and make a mess. And what I could have done, just to accentuate this pattern, would be to put it through the Hessian folder, but it's fine. So I'm going to put that onto there like so. And then this one, I'm going to raise it up a little bit. So let's grab some foam pads. And these are the Crafter's Companion one. They're probably about 3 mil high. And none of these workings, you won't be able to see any of these workings from the other side. So you've got free rein to put anything where you want it to, because that gap is so small. you know, even if anyone was to look from the back, they wouldn't see how we had assembled that. Just give those a little press down. Apologies, I think this is going to be quite a long video, but we're nearly at the end now. Like I said, you know, earlier as well, just probably best to just go with your craft knife when cutting the planks, depending on which sort of how thick your cardboard is that you started off. This was a big ass silverny cutter, so I apologise about that. So I've just got back of a foam pad that's decided to sit there. I'm just going to come. I'm going to have that coming off the edge of my palette, and then we can come in on this glue side with my black panel, that onto there. And for gluing Mr. Pippin, I'm going to use, she says, I'm going to use the Collal 3D glue gel. I'm going to glue it flat, so I am just putting a little covering on. I'm just not sure how the alcohol in the alcohol glue would work with this glossy photo paper that I've used. Okay, so there's my boy there. I'll keep that glue to hand because we will need that. And then we've got this sentiment here, so again we can go with our glue gel. And if you wanted to, you could ink this up. I'm not choosing to today, but that's definitely something that you can do if you would like to. I think I'm going to go hanging over there if that will stay still. And I think I'm going to go quite flat with this one. So we're going to have that coming down like so. So we've got another layer coming off there. And then our little Scotty dog. I'm going to come in with some 3D glue gel, I think, for him. I'll pop that on. Like so. And then lastly, because I've got a bit of space here, I want to pop a little flower on. So I've got this sort of large white flower here, and these, I didn't have the right colour blue, so I'm not going to use the flowers. I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to do two other things. So I'm going to bring that to one side. I was going to put some flowers on and a bit of greenery, but I've decided that I don't want to do that. So I'm going to bring these hearts back in. These are the Creative Expressions one, and I think I'm going to use one, or do I want two? I'm going to use I think I'm going to use I'm probably just going to use the one coming out, and I'm going to cut that in silver. So let me grab another piece of that silver. You can always cut another one if we need to, but I think one's going to be enough. And then I'm going to go with some white pearls to finish. So I'm going to put white pearls on the flowers, and I also want to put some loose on the actual palette itself. So Let's just check that hasn't moved, because that's what happens usually. Right, let's hope for the best with that one. I wondered where that had gone then. Right. I'm not going to use the charm, so that's a definite. Rubbing these out gently. Oh, it's pretty difficult. I've ripped it. Let me just do it one more time. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we've got it now. I'm going to pop that one into there. So I think I'll just put a little bit of 3D glue gel just on this end, and then super carefully tuck that in. I want that to float and flutter in the wind. And then finishing touches, you know they're my favourite. So we've got some, I've got various different sizes, so put a few on there. And with the red, I don't need the red. Don't need the black. And we've got some huge ones, and then there's some smaller ones there. Okay, so tacky glue. I'm going to start in the centre of all of these flowers. And put them there, there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Let's get my piggy up tool, so that's going to be a nice big one there, and there, and then we can pop a medium size one there, and then if I just get this tiny one, if it doesn't want to turn over, there you go. One on there, and one there, go on there, one more on there. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn this round, and I want it's a nice big one there. And then I want the medium one. It doesn't want to leave me. And I think I'm going to do the same up here. So again with the big one. Sorry if you can hear that. Everything falling out of the cupboard that I stacked up. There we go. So there's that one, that one, that one. Could have done with a bit less glue. And then I'm just going to do two here. Might do a big one, I think. There. And then one here as well. To play ball. There we go. So I'll pop those back into there, and then lastly, just to finish off, I was hoping that I would have some sort of like natural fibrous cord, but I didn't. So I did find this silver which does match in with my project. Probably let's take it to about there, and pop that onto there, thread that through. It's quite a nice big hole. I'm just going to make some decent sized knots so it doesn't fall through. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. And then this one through there. I just have to kind of work out how high up I want it to go. I don't want it to be too long. I think that would be fine. Cut it there. And then just make a massive knot. I mean, you could tie it to a brad, anything like that really. Oops. Okay. I think that should be it. And there you can see there's my little hanging project. Now if you wanted to, you could, once you've printed this out, if you're not using a sentiment, that is, if you wanted to, if you've got smaller stamps, you could go in and decorate this. You don't have to leave it plain. Like I say, it could be inked. There's loads of little things that you can do to embellish. And you can't really see that ribbon. Probably would have been better if I'd put it across there, if I'm honest with you. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. Like I've said before, when I do these videos, it is just me crafting. It's I don't really come into it with a specific plan, apart from a vague idea of what I'm using and the sort of materials that I want to use. So I knew that I wanted to do something to put on my wall. I knew I wanted to do something with the Pipster. And my choice of colours was then going to be either red or blue, because he looked fantastic in red and blue. If it had been Henry or George, it would have been pink, because they are both pink boys. I don't know why it is, but they are both pink boys. But yeah, so it's just purely just picking up a few bits. I found these little charms. I've got loads of little doggy things, because I've got scrapbooks to make of all of them, and I do a bit of scrapbooking now and then. It's just I don't do as much as I should do, considering the amount of supplies I've bought to do it. But yeah, so I mean, that's just my idea. Obviously you can take it any way you want to. Make a little palette, stick it on your wall, or even if you've got the grandchildren or children round, they could be making one for their own wall, or door sign. Especially if you're just doing the thin planks. If you had you cut that thin and some letter dies and maybe a character, they would make nice little door plates, especially if it's something that changes a lot. If you're looking after children, and the children change quite often, like foster caring, that sort of thing, it's ideal for them, because they can actually take that with them, and it's not really cost a lot to make. But sometimes little things like that make a world of difference to children in that situation. And if you're helping out with people in any of them circumstances, that could be a fabulous thing for you to do. And like I say, it could make a world of difference. But that's all I've got for you today. Just one little plaque. I now need to find a nice place to put it so I can see it. I'm going to be back next time with Hunky Dory. I have got some new things coming with Hunky Dory, but I think I'm probably going to go back to, I said I would go back to the books, didn't I? So I'm probably going to go back to one of the animal books and have a little play with that. We'll see what we come up with for them. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Well done if you stayed to the end of this one. I think it's going to be a bit of a long one. But see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.